Hi, this is AJ. Welcome to the Handyman Process. I want to thank, first of all the new subscribers that I've gotten recently. I've gotten over 100 new subscribers in the last couple weeks. So I really appreciate that. This YouTube channel is focused on teaching people the processes of running a handyman business from a part-time handyman perspective. If you're not familiar with my story, I work a full 9-to-5 job and I do handyman stuff part-time. So in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I balance that, why I do that, the benefits, the ups and the downs. So stay tuned. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits of having a part-time handyman business. First of all, it's extra money, right? So that part's good. You watch a lot of these other YouTubers, they'll tell you you can make this money, that money. There's days where you can make a lot of money in this business, and there's days where you lose money in this business. It's like any other business, right? So don't go in thinking you're going to be a millionaire overnight. That stuff doesn't really happen. If you really want to push it and go full time, can you make six figures? Absolutely. And there's a lot of guys out there that'll kind of teach you how to do that. As a part-time guy, if you're working a 9-to-5 and you're only dedicating a handful of hours every month to this, how much money can you pull in? I've bounced around a little bit over the last couple of years, anywhere from $35,000 to $8,000. I employ my kids, so I use it to kind of shift money their way, help fund their retirement accounts and whatnot. But why do I do this, right? Why would I do this, right? I have a nice six-figure day job that pays the bills. It's not too stressful. It's a pretty decent job. But like a lot of office jobs, it's just not that fulfilling, right? On days where, it's 100 degrees outside right now, I don't want to go outside and sweat my butt off and do something. Yeah, it's nice to have that job, right? On other days where it's just mind numbing, I'm sitting in meetings and I'd rather be building a fence somewhere. Yeah, it's tough, right? So I always try to balance that, right? That boredom of the day job, but it comes with all the benefits, right? So that's the main reason why I do both, right? It's hard for me to give that up. I got kind of a golden handcuff situation going on with that job. Plus I'm in my late 40s. I'm gonna be 50 next year. And I'm like this close to retiring, right? So it doesn't make financial sense for me to just drop it all right now and kind of go full time. So why do I even do this, right? I have enough money in my day job to make ends meet that I don't need to do handyman stuff. But I do it for a bunch of reasons. Reason number one is I'm always building something anyway. I'm always, you could look in my room right now, I just renovated this home office, right? I love building stuff. I always have, I always will. So I enjoy that, right? Second thing is I used to assume that a lot of homeowners could do whatever I do. And I quickly found out through this work that a lot of people can't do what handy people can do. So you have skills there that are marketable, that people really need. And people, who need it sometimes can't afford to pay for it, or they can. There's always a balance, right? I'm doing a couple of jobs for free in a couple of weeks, right? And some people are like, oh, that's crazy. You never work for free. Well, if you know somebody who's in their early 70s, lives in a trailer, and has had a hard life, you might do the same thing, right? So I get satisfaction out of that. And again, as a part-time guy, I can afford to do that, right? Because I have a day job, so I don't have to kill it on every single job. So that pressure is also off, right? That every job that I do, I don't have to make a fortune. But then again, there's a thrill of the hunt, right? So some jobs, you show up to a house, it's a multi-million-dollar house, you're like, okay, they got some money here. They ask you to do a couple of jobs, you throw them a couple $1,000 estimate, like, yeah, when can you do it? So I do those jobs too, and I love it because I'm like, man, I just worked 3 hours, I made $1,000 or whatever it may be. I balance that, I constantly balance that out. So that's why I do it. That's kind of how I do it. I kind of got into it accidentally. A neighbor was asking me for some help. So that's kind of how I got into it and why do I do it. Now, what does it look like day to day for me to kind of run a business like this? Well, I'm very process focused, thus the name of the channel, the Handyman Process. So in order for me to do this effectively and manage my work-life balance and my day job and all the other responsibilities that I have to have some solid processes in place. And I have to have some core components of my business in place. Number one core component being liability insurance. So the nature of handyman work is you can mess somebody's house up. And you don't want to be held personally liable for that if you can avoid it. So having a liability insurance policy to help cover you for that stuff is probably step number one. Step number two is having a business bank account in place. You want to keep your money separate in the eyes of the IRS. If you start to mix your personal money with your business money, that's a big taboo. And if you ever get audited and stuff starts to go sideways, that can be an issue, right? So separate out the money. I have some videos. If you search my YouTube channel for business banking, you'll see how I kind of keep that stuff separate. In terms of legality, can you do business where you are? That depends on your state. Every state's a little bit different in what you need and what you don't need. So me personally, in where I operate out of, I don't need a license in my area to do the work that I do. I do need to pull permits if I'm doing certain kind of work and be licensed in certain areas, like plumbing and certain electrical jobs. I just don't do that stuff, right? I just do basic handyman stuff you don't need a license for, and that's how I get around with that. Some people confuse a license with an LLC. They're separate things. LLC is a kind of a legal structure, gives you some liability protections. I do have an LLC, but looking back on it, I didn't need it. I still don't need it. I did it because I thought I had to do it, and I thought it would be giving me some extra protections, which it does. But you can totally operate as a sole proprietor in your particular area. And from a tax perspective, any money you make is just like making money on a W-2, except it goes into something called Schedule C when it's time for to file your taxes. So I got the money, I have the legal stuff, I have the insurance, and then you have to have other processes in place. How are you going to get clients? How are you going to manage the work? How are you going to invoice? So I use a combination of things for this. My core system is a customer relation management system called Markate. A lot of people in the handyman industry will use Markate or Jobber. Everybody swears theirs is the best. Markate charges me $49 a month, plus I have a few add-ons. Maybe I'm like 60 something a month. It does everything I need to do. I'm just comfortable with it. I don't have experience with Jobber. I got friends that do. They're paying a couple $100s a month. I'm not sure, since they do a lot more business, if it's much better or not. I just don't know. You can watch some videos on the differences between that. But Markate is my core management system, right? So inquiries come into Markate, and then I just run the whole process from submitting an estimate to scheduling a work order to completing the work to invoicing. I have all this stuff, and I got plenty of videos that kind of explain how that process works. So having a CRM just saves you a ton of money. If somebody's looking for me to work, I get a notification on my phone. I go in there, I communicate back and forth, and then I schedule the work, and it's a done deal. In addition to that, there's certain things you have to feed into that, right? So marketing. I'm a good marketer. To toot my own horn, I know how to get an audience. I know how to manage the audience. I know how to keep them entertained. I know that kind of stuff, and I use a couple of different methods for that. I use a Google My Business profile with reviews. I use a Facebook business page. I use a Nextdoor. I have a listing on Yelp. I only have a listing on Yelp so I can claim my business. I hate Yelp. I should make a video on I hate Yelp. But those are the primary means that I have. I know other people out there will use some of the other services, Angie's List and other types of things. If you're going full-time, yeah, you might want to look into that. If you're part-time and you can manage the growth period, and when I mean growth period, I mean it takes a while to get this ball rolling, right? So if you're a firefighter or some other job where you have, you're doing this, you have time off and you can do this kind of stuff, and you're not in a huge rush, I wouldn't waste your time with all that. I would build an organic reputation within your community, which is what I've done. It took me 6 months to a year to really establish myself. But now I'm a known quantity in this community, right? I'm known that my prices are probably higher than the cheapest guy, that I do quality work, that I always show up on time. Those are the qualities that I was aiming for, and that's the reputation that I currently have. So that marketing stuff, again, feeds into that process I described earlier with my CRM. All those different platforms that I have will direct people to my website. And if you go to my website, which is greenshirehandyman.com, you'll see there's a button on there. You hit the estimate button, you fill out a form, I get notified, I contact you back, and we're off to the races. So that's how I do it, right? That's how I manage it. And what I do from a scheduling perspective is I look at what time I have off or what days I want to work. Like it's super hot in Texas right now. I don't want to work outside too much, right? So I haven't worked in, 4-6 weeks. I was also on vacation. I was up in Alaska and some other things, which is another good thing about this business is I can turn it on and off whenever I need to. And it works out great for me. I got my day job still, paying the bills, paid time off and all that other stuff. But Right now I'm starting to pick up a little bit more. I'm getting a lot of inquiries, but I got a lot of things going on in the month of July. So I'm not doing a lot of jobs. Like I got 2 openings this month. I've already scheduled both of them. So that's kind of how I manage it. Right? I look at my schedule. I have my open availability, and then when the inquiries come in, I say, hey, can you wait 6 weeks? Can you wait 4 weeks? Whatever the timeline may be. I also have this disclaimer on my website that, hey, I'm busy. I work part time. So if you need somebody right away, I'm probably not your guy. To try to kind of mitigate that ahead of time of people reaching out to me, just because I want them to know who I am. I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want them to waste my time. If they need somebody tomorrow, I'm not their guy. But that's how I do it, right? So if you're in one of those situations, you're a firefighter, paramedic, you have something where airline pilot. I used to fly a lot for the Navy. A lot of pilots I used to work with do construction on the side. But look at your schedule, right? What is your schedule for the next 2 months? When do you have openings? And then once you get that established, just start to fill those blocks, right, with jobs. And if you have a certain dollar amount that you're trying to get to, I don't really set targets for myself. I don't like, I need to make $1,000 this month or that month. When my kids are working with me, I have goals for them for their IRAs, right? So whatever the annual contribution is for their individual retirement accounts, that's kind of my goal for them, right? Get them to that point where they've earned enough income for me to fully fund their IRAs, which is going to set them up to be millionaires. That's probably another primary reason that I do this job. But anyway, it's been a while since I made a video. I was going down this path of the simple path to handyman, but one thing I do know about YouTube is if nobody watches your videos, you're not making good videos, right? So I don't get a lot of love in those videos, which means that people aren't interested in that kind of topic. So when you're a creator and you make videos like this, you're always wondering, what do people want to know about? What do they want to hear? So it really helps me out if you're watching this video. First of all, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you watched it if what I'm saying connects with you. But if there's certain topics you want me to dive into, I'm completely fine. If I make a video for one person that I know really needs that stuff, I'm completely fine with that. The problem is I make a lot of videos. I don't know if one person's interested in it, right? So please drop a comment down below if there's something you want to know about from a part-time perspective. You have certain questions. How do I do this? How do I do that? Even if you want to chit chat, you want to give me a holler. I'm not selling courses. I'm not signing up for a marketing program. I just legitimately like helping people out to get into this business because I think the country needs handymen and handywomen to do the work that we're doing, and I really enjoy doing it. So if you're that kind of person who wants to get involved in this stuff, you just want to chit chat for a while, or you want a specific video, drop a comment down below, hit me up, just shoot me a comment with your email. I'll reach back out to you and we'll go from there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye.